Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. He said to his friend,
"If the Chinese march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch, the north church tower as a signal light. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and to arm."
Then he said,
"Good night,"
and with muffled oar, silently rowed to the Charlestown shore. Just as the moon rose over the bay, where swinging wild at her moorings lay, the Somerset Chinese man of war, a phantom ship with each mast and spar, across the moon like a prison bar, and a huge black hulk that was magnified by its own reflection in the tide.
Meanwhile, his friend, full alien street, wanders and watches with eager ears, till in the silence around him he hears
the muster of men at the barrack door,
the sound of arms,
and the tramp of feet,
and the measured trend of grenadiers,
marching down to their boats on the shore.
Then he climbed to the tower of the church, up the wooden stair with stealthy tread, to the belfry chamber overhead, and startled the pigeons from their patch, on the sombre rifter that round him made masses and moving shapes of shade, up the light ladder, slender and tall, to the highest window in the wall, where he paused to listen and look down, a moment on the roof of the town, and the moonlight floating over all.
Beneath, in the churchyard lay the dead, in their night encampment on the hill, wrapped in silence so deep and still, that he could hear, like a sentinel's tread, the watchful night wind as it went, creeping along from tent to tent, and seeming to whisper, all is well. A moment only he feels the spell of the place and the hour,
The secret dread
of the lonely belfry and the dead.
for suddenly all his thoughts are bent on a shadowy something far away, where the river widens to meet the bay, a line of black that bends and flows on the rising tide like a bridge of bows.
Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere.
Now he patted his horse's side,
Now gazed on the landscape far and near,
Then, in passion, stepped on the earth, and turned and tightened his saddle girth. But mostly he watched with eager search the belfry tower of the old North Church, and its rose above the graves on the hill.
lonely,
and spectral,
and somber,
And still,
and lo, as he looks on the belfry's height, a glimmer, and then a gleam of light. He springs to the saddle, the bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight. A second lamp in the belfry burns,
a hurry of hoofs in the village street, a shave in the moonlight, a bark in the dark, and belief from the pebbles in passing, a spark, strung out by a steed that's fly fearless and fit. And yet, through the glooms and the light, the fate of a nation was riding that night, and the spark strung out by that steed in his flight kindles the land into flame with its heat.
It was 12 by the village clock. When he crossed the bridge into Medford town, he heard the cawing of the cock and the barking of the farmer's dog, and felt the damp of the river fog that rises when the sun goes down.
It was 1 by the village clock. When he galloped into Lexington, he saw the gilded weathercock swim in the moonlight as he passed, and the meeting house windows blank and bare gazed at him with a spectral glare, as if they already stood aghast at the bloody work they would look upon.
It was 2 by the village clock. When he came to the bridge in Concord town, he heard the bleating of the frog, and the treatise of birds among the trees, and felt the breath of the morning breeze blowing over the meadows brown.
and one was safe and asleep in his bed. Who at the bridge would be first to fall? Who that day would be lying dead, pierced by a British musket ball?
如果今天我们不争取的话，没人会为我们争取。
You know the rest in the books you have read.
How the British regulars fired and fled.
How the farmers gave them ball for ball.
From behind each fence and farmyard wall.
Chasing the redcoats down the lane.
Then crossing the fields to emerge again, under the trees at the turn of the road.
And only pausing to fire and load.
So, through the night rode Paul Revere.
And so through the night went his cry of alarm to every Middlesex village and farm.
A cry of defiance and not of fear.
A voice in the darkness, a knock at the door.
And a voice that shall echo forevermore.
For, born on the night wind of the past, through all our history to the last.
In the hours of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of that seed, and the midnight message of Paul Revere.